New legislative efforts in the United States completely outlaw abortion. Several of these laws use the fetal heartbeat as a measure of when life begins, even though modern medicine disagrees. What is a fetal heartbeat, and why focus on it? Stay tuned to the end of this video to find out. To keep up to date on everything that matters to progressives, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. Georgia's so-called fetal heartbeat bill uses bad science to justify even worse legislation. What is a fetal heartbeat? To answer that, we need to first review modern scientific understanding of human pregnancy, and then talk about abortion legislation thus far. At 6 weeks of human gestation, the human embryo is roughly 1/4 of an inch long, about the size of a sweet pea. The immature cardiovascular system is a group of cells with regular electrical activity. That activity, which can be detected with sensitive ultrasound technology, is described as a tiny, blinking, flashing, and/or rocking echo with a regular rhythm. The fact that the rhythm can be detected in something so small and immature is an amazing feat of technology, but it isn't a heartbeat as we understand it. For obstetricians, the detection of this electrical activity is an important factor that development of the embryo is ongoing and should continue growing into a healthy fetus. A fetal heartbeat is not a sign of human life, only that a human life will soon be possible. The legislation passed thus far is based on model legislation from faith2action.org. It includes the phrase, unborn human individual, which is clearly a misnomer. The organism has no viability, meaning it would not survive if it was taken out of the womb. The big concern is whether the person carrying the embryo, or the federal government, gets to decide whether carrying it to term is the right decision. Because human gestation is a complicated process, the Supreme Court created trimester clauses in the Roe v. Wade case. Instead of looking at pregnancy as a singular condition, they broke it into 3-month periods called trimesters. The court ruled that governments could not prohibit abortions during the first trimester, could only require reasonable health regulations during the second, and could prohibit abortion entirely during the third, except in cases where it was necessary to save the life of the mother. These new legislative actions claim that a fetal heartbeat is evidence of human life, and therefore an abortion of an embryo is murder. The fact that these new laws violate the ruling of Roe v. Wade makes them inherently unconstitutional. Several states are enacting them simultaneously to do two things: overrun the appeal system and try to force their way to the Supreme Court. Amy Vanderpool's blog post, "The Strategy Behind Heartbeat Bills and Abortion Bans," goes into depth on this issue. She explains that several different states passing similar laws at the same time can clog up the appeals process, meaning some laws may not face an injunction or stay in some states. Moreover, the Supreme Court will likely only choose one of these laws to review, leaving the others to sit and wait for an eventual ruling. That could take months or even years. If these laws don't have an injunction or stay placed against them, they will remain in place until a Supreme Court review of Roe v. Wade. For more, make sure to check out Amy's discussion with BBC Newsday journalist Krista Satori. The link is in the description of this video. More states plan to pass legislation banning abortion and using the fetal heartbeat as a measure of when it can or cannot happen. So far, Alabama, Mississippi, Ohio, Georgia, Kentucky, Arkansas, Utah, Missouri, and Iowa have passed some form of a fetal heartbeat abortion ban. Louisiana, South Carolina, West Virginia, Florida, and Texas all have legislation in the works. No one likes abortion, but in some cases, it is the right decision. If a person is raped and impregnated by their rapist, in cases of incest, and in cases where the person carrying the child does not feel they are ready to have a child, abortion is a perfectly reasonable decision. No one should be forced to be a parent if they don't want to be or can't bear the financial strain. These abortion laws are more about controlling sexuality than anything else. By creating a false purity test and shaming those who get pregnant for engaging in sexual acts, they are pretending that abstinence is a measure of morality. There is nothing wrong with consenting people being sexually active with one another in healthy ways. Moreover, those who are victims of sexual violence shouldn't be forced to carry their rapist child to term. The best methods for preventing abortion are comprehensive sex education and readily available contraception. Conservatives know that an outright ban on abortion is now within reach. The Supreme Court frequently supports conservative positions due to the appointment of Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch, tipping the balance of the court in their favor. However, the strategy of the moment is manufacturing an effective ban by passing obviously unconstitutional laws to overwhelm the appeals system. Additionally, it riles up conservative voters and pits them against pro-choice voters, setting up a 2020 general election where abortion can be front and center as a wedge issue. Knowing what a fetal heartbeat is and why several states are using it to create blatantly unconstitutional abortion bans is the first step in preventing long-term damage to American freedom. I'm Ethan, the Progressive Liberal. Thanks for watching.